Very good evening and welcome to Prime Time News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I'm Thiruni Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories.
CID record statement from Ranil's wife, Maitri Wickramasinghe. CID informs court that witnesses who provided major revelations regarding the Easter Sunday attacks have been subjected to threats. Walk for peace in the island of peace recommences from Kandy and reaches Kegol. Sagarika train derails. Railway services on coastal line disrupted.
On to those stories in detail. Iran's semi-official Mehr news agency says that the Iranian foreign minister will begin a round of visits to Islamabad, Muscat and Moscow starting this evening. Mehr said the purpose of this trip is bilateral consultations, discussions about current developments in the region and also the latest situation of the imposed war by the United States and the Israeli regime against Iran.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm told this is a rather historic meeting because these countries have been bordering each other for many, many years, and it doesn't happen much, although they like each other. I found that out today, and I've sort of heard about that. They actually like each other, Lebanon and Israel. And we had a great meeting with the very high officials of Lebanon and very high officials of Israel, and we think that the President of Lebanon and the Prime Minister of Israel over the next couple of weeks will be coming here. They've agreed to an additional 3 weeks of, no firing, ceasefire, no more firing. Let's see. We hope that happens. It's not going to happen between them, but they do have Hezbollah to think about. And we're going to be working with Lebanon to get things straightened out in that country. I really believe it's something we can do pretty easily, just with the power of who we are. They're great people, the Lebanese people. We have our ambassador here who has done a fantastic job, ambassador to Lebanon from the United States. And we had a great conversation, and I think it's the beginning of something very important. It'll be a wonderful thing to get this worked out simultaneously with what we're doing in Iran.
The European Union's foreign policy chief expressed concern that talks involving Iran are too narrowly focused on its nuclear program and fail to address other key issues, including missile development and Tehran's support for proxy groups.
What we are worried about is that the negotiations that are going on right now are addressing the nuclear issue, but also the missile program should be addressed, as well as Iran's support to proxies. Everybody was very clear that the freedom of navigation is non-negotiable, so the Strait of Hormuz has to be open without any tolls, and we need to make efforts for that. And of course, as we have the Operation Aspides and Atalanta actually in the region, the fastest way to put this coalition of the willing together is to use those missions to ramp them up, to strengthen them with ships and tools, capabilities that are needed. Clearly, we have to see what is the other side of this. If the talks are only about the nuclear and there are no nuclear experts around the table, then we will end up with agreement that is weaker than the JCPOA was. And the problems in the region, missile programs, their support to proxies, also hybrid and cyber activities in Europe are not addressed. So we will end up with a more dangerous Iran, we are then strengthening.
Moreover, the EU's Commissioner for Economy and Productivity said that the war in the Middle East has negatively impacted the European Union's economy by between 0.2 and 0.6%. The conflict has caused a 60% surge in natural gas prices, soaring jet fuel costs and supply chain disruptions due to Iran's effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, costing the EU an estimated €500 million daily. A senior Iranian parliament official said that Tehran has received the first revenue from tolls it imposed on the strategic Strait of Hormuz in its war with the United States and Israel. The Strait of Hormuz, a key energy choke point, has become a major flashpoint since the outbreak of the Middle East war on the 28th of February. Iran has allowed only a trickle of ships to pass through the waterway, a route that in peacetime accounts for a fifth of the world's oil and gas flows, along with other vital commodities. Before the announcement of revenue from tolls, Iran's parliament had been deciding whether to impose them on shipping through the strait, with Iranian officials warning that maritime traffic through the strait would not return to its pre-war status. The UN's peacekeeping force in Lebanon says that an Indonesian soldier, Corporal Rico Pramudia, died from wounds sustained when a projectile hit his base on the 29th of March. UNIFIL said that at the time of the attack that it did not know the origin of the projectile that hit the base, which killed one other soldier at the time. UNIFIL in the past has strongly condemned Israel for its attack on UN peacekeeping bases, both during this most recent war and the one in 2024 between Israel and Hezbollah. Pope Leo XIV has issued a strong appeal for peace, calling on the international community to adopt a new cultural attitude that rejects violence and war, as innocent lives continue to be lost in ongoing conflicts, including the war involving Iran.
I would like to begin by saying that we need to foster a new cultural attitude towards peace. So often when we assess certain situations, the immediate response is that we must resort to violence, to war, to attacking. As we have seen, many innocent people have died. I have just seen a letter, perhaps you have seen it too, from some children, from the families of the children who died on that first day of the attack. And they speak of the fact that they have now lost their sons, their daughters, the children who died in that attack. And I say, if regime change is not the issue, how can we promote the values in which we believe without the deaths of so many innocent people? The issue of Iran is clearly very complex. Even in the negotiations currently taking place, one day Iran says yes, the United States says no, and vice versa. We do not know how it is going, who created and continues to create this chaotic situation, which is critical for the global economy. But then there is also the entire population of Iran, innocent people who are suffering because of this war. Regime change, yes or no? It is unclear what the situation is at the moment, following the initial days of, shall we say, the attacks by Israel and the United States against Iran. Rather, I would like to encourage the continuation of dialogue for peace. The parties involved are all making every effort to promote peace. The threat of war, international law must be respected. It is very important that the innocent are protected, which has not been the case in various places. I carry with me a photo of a child, a Muslim boy who during my visit to Lebanon was standing there holding a sign saying, "Welcome Pope Leo." And then in the context of this war, he was killed, wasn't he? There are so many human situations, and I think we must be able to think in this way. As the church, I say again, as a pastor, I cannot be in favor of war, and I would like to encourage everyone to make every effort to seek answers that stem from a culture of peace, not of hatred and division.
Che vengono da una cultura di pace e non di odio, divisione.
U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says that Iran still has an open window to make a deal and abandon a nuclear weapon in meaningful and verifiable ways. The U.S. Secretary of War made this statement during a media briefing held today.
Unlike the endless wars of the past that dragged on for years and for decades with little to show for it, Operation Epic Fury has delivered a decisive military results in just weeks. Operation Epic Fury has been laser focused from the very start, as I've said to all of you. Clear mission objectives, and ultimately Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. It's a bold and dangerous mission, a gift to the world, historic, courtesy of a bold and historic president. That mission continues today, in this new phase, as Iran has an important choice, a chance to make a deal, a good deal, a wise deal. As part of that effort, the United States has imposed an ironclad blockade that grows more powerful by the day. From the Gulf of Oman to the open oceans, our Navy is enforcing this blockade without hesitation or apology. Iran knows that they still have an open window to choose wisely. As we said previously, choose wisely at the negotiating table. All they have to do is abandon a nuclear weapon in meaningful and verifiable ways, or instead they can watch their regime's fragile economic state collapse under the unrelenting pressure of American power. A blockade as long as it takes, whatever President Trump decides. Because the bottom line remains the bottom line. Iran will never get a nuclear bomb. The choice is theirs, but with this blockade, the clock is not on their side. Moreover, President Trump has authorized the United States Navy to destroy any Iranian fast boats that attempt to put mines in the water or disrupt passage through the Strait of Hormuz, to shoot and kill. Our commanders have clear rules of engagement. If Iran is putting mines in the water or otherwise threatening American commercial shipping or American forces, we will shoot to destroy. No hesitation, just like the drug boats in the Caribbean.
U.S. President Donald Trump shared a letter on birthright citizenship in a post on social media, Truth Social, arguing against hiring practices in the tech sector in America. In the strongly worded letter, Trump stated that these immigrants are not loyal to America. He criticized that anyone born in the U.S. gets citizenship, which is ludicrous.
The letter shared by U.S. President Donald Trump says that a baby in the United States becomes an instant citizen and, quote, then they bring in their entire family in from China or India or some other hellhole on the planet. You don't have to go too far to see that. English is not spoken here anymore. That there's almost no loyalty to this country amongst the immigrant class coming in today, which was not always the case, unquote. The letter argued that groups such as the Irish, Italians, Polish, Lithuanians, Romanians and Russians successfully assimilated into the American society, but claimed the traditional melting pot no longer functions as intended. It described birthright citizenship, the idea that anyone born in the U.S. automatically becomes a citizen regardless of their parents' backgrounds, as unreasonable. The American Civil Liberties Union was criticized, with the letter alleging it has done more damage to this nation than all the mafia families put together. It also accused immigrants of placing a strain on public services like healthcare, claiming taxpayers cover costs for undocumented individuals, and pointed to states such as California over alleged welfare misuse and cultural impacts. It focused on states like California and the alleged welfare frauds, along with the cultural and linguistic impact of immigration on that society. The Consulate General of Iran said in a post on X that both China and India are cradles of civilization. Its response came after Trump shared a letter in a post on Truth Social on birthright citizenship, calling India and China hellhole. The Consulate General indirectly used this term targeting Trump, calling him a war criminal president who threatened to decimate the civilization in Iran. The Ministry of External Affairs avoided U.S. President Donald Trump's hellhole remark about India and China, with spokesperson Randir Jaiswal merely stating that they had seen some reports.
On to news here at home. The Criminal Investigation Department today recorded a statement from Maitri Wickramasinghe, the wife of former President Ranil Wickramasinghe. The statement was recorded in connection with investigations into allegations that former President Ranil Wickramasinghe undertook a private overseas trip using public funds amounting to 16.6 million rupees.
A team of officers from the Criminal Investigations Department visited the residence located on 5th Lane, Colombo 3 this afternoon and obtained the statement from Maitri Wickramasinghe. Police said the statement was taken at her residence following a request made by her legal representatives taking into consideration her health condition. In relation to the allegation of using 16.6 million rupees in public funds for a private foreign trip, the Criminal Investigations Department had filed a case against former President Ranil Wickramasinghe at the 4th Magistrates Court. The case is scheduled to be taken up again before the 4th Magistrates Court on Wednesday the 29th of April at 2 p.m.
7 years after the Easter Sunday terror attacks, the question of who masterminded the atrocity continues to remain unanswered. The attacks claimed the lives of 278 innocent people and left nearly 500 others injured. As proceedings continue before the 4th Magistrates Court, a number of long-concealed facts connected to the crime are now coming to light. Amid these revelations, it has also emerged that several witnesses are currently facing various forms of intimidation.
In an earlier Channel 4 disclosure concerning the April 21, 2019 Easter Sunday attacks, it was revealed that Pillayan was allegedly behind the attacks. The Criminal Investigations Department recently submitted a report to the Fort Magistrates Court revealing several additional significant facts. It was reported yesterday that investigation findings show that Professor Rohan Gunaratne had met Pillayan on 3 occasions while Pillayan was detained at the Batticaloa prison during the period from 2015 to 2021. Professor Gunaratne and Pillayan have also authored and published books describing the Easter Sunday attacks as an ISIS-led operation in what was seen as an attempt to project the attacks as carried out by ISIS. Today, attention is drawn to serious threats now being directed at key witnesses who exposed critical information related to these killings. The identities of the witnesses are being withheld due to concerns for their safety. The first incident. The Criminal Investigations Department has now revealed that the murder of 2 police officers in the Vaunathivu area of Batticaloa prior to the Easter Sunday attacks was carried out by the group led by Zaharan Hashim. It has also been uncovered that during the period of the attacks, investigations and evidence were deliberately misdirected to convince authorities that the murders were committed by former LTTE members. The CID informed court that a key witness who provided intelligence regarding the murder of the 2 police officers is now facing threats. The witness stated that a member of military intelligence had contacted him, offering to speak to a senior intelligence official and arrange facilities for him to leave the country. The witness further informed investigators that the individual had offered money and other benefits to facilitate this arrangement. Investigations have revealed that the same military intelligence operative also threatened the witness, warning that he could be implemented in a drug or ICE narcotics case. The witness also told the CID that 2 individuals from the Kovilkulam military intelligence camp were following him on a motorcycle. The second incident. The CID informed court that another witness who had previously operated as a handler of military intelligence informants is also facing threats. This witness had disclosed information regarding suspicious behavior by former State Intelligence Service Chief Suresh Saleh prior to the Easter Sunday attacks. On the 12th of March, 2 individuals arriving on a motorcycle were seen acting suspiciously near the residence of the witness's wife, checking whether the witness was at home. One of those individuals have been identified as a member of the Nigambo subunit of military intelligence, and CID has informed court that investigators have recorded a statement from him. The third incident. A key witness who revealed information about a military intelligence officer and a group allegedly involved in supplying firearms to extremist members of Zaharan Hashim's National Tawhid Jamaat is also facing threats. The CID reported to court that severe threats have been made against this witness by a police inspector and a sergeant attached to the office of the Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in Batticaloa, as well as a sub-inspector assigned to the Batticaloa Divisional Criminal Investigations Bureau. Investigators told court that the witness had been threatened both directly and indirectly with illegal detention and death by shooting. It has also been revealed that money and goods had been obtained from the witness on several occasions through intimidation, and multiple related complaints have been lodged. The fourth incident. The CID also reported that another witness who exposed statements made by a military intelligence officer prior to the Easter Sunday attacks, statements that suggested foreknowledge of an impending attack, is now under threat. The witness was lured to the Kavathamune area in Vala, Chennai through a message sent via a fake Facebook account claiming to provide narcotics-related information and was subsequently assaulted. According to the CID, the individuals responsible for the assault have been identified by name, and a case in connection with the incident is currently being heard before the Vala Chennai Magistrates Court. A statement made by the father of the assaulted witness revealed that a military intelligence operative was involved in the attack. This witness has also exposed the meetings that took place between Professor Rohan Gunaratne and Pillayan. When these matters were presented before the Fort Magistrates Court, Magistrate Isurunet Kumara stressed that the situation is extremely serious and called for immediate action. The magistrate further emphasized that no court orders are required to take such action and that the Attorney General's department has the authority to proceed with the necessary steps.
The Colombo High Court trial at bar rejected a request made by former Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara seeking permission to add new information to the statement that he made from the dock in the Easter Sunday terror attacks case. The request was considered before the three-judge bench comprising Justices Priyantha Liyanage, Biraj Veerasurya and Tilakaratna Bandara.
The case has been filed against former Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara under several charges, including criminal negligence for failing to prevent the Easter Sunday terror attacks, despite having received prior intelligence warnings of an imminent attack. Appearing on behalf of Pujit Jayasundara, Attorney-at-Law Roshan Dehiwala informed court that his client had inadvertently omitted two matters when making his doc statement and sought permission to place those matters before court. Presiding Judge Priyantha Liyanage stated that an accused person is entitled to make only one statement from the dock. Additional Solicitor General Dileep Piris, appearing for the Attorney General, submitted that granting such a request could create an erroneous precedent. He further stressed that there is no legal provision permitting an accused to add to a dock statement once it had been made. After considering the submissions, the court rejected the application. The case was fixed to be taken up once again on the 22nd of May 2026.
The Mahasangha taking part in the Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace arrived at the Beligamana Viharaya in Kegol this afternoon. The Walk for Peace commenced this morning from the premises of the Sri Dalada Maligava, or the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. This global Walk for Peace is being held at the request of President Anurakumara Dissanayaka. The Maharaja Media Network is the official media and coordination partner for the Sri Lankan chapter of the Global Walk for Peace.
Global Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace, Sri Lanka.
On the first day of the Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace, the Mahasangha, led by Venerable Panya Karathero of Vietnam, walked a distance of 47 kilometers from the Ramgiridambul Rajamahavihara to the Mathale Aluvihara. Yesterday, the Mahasangha proceeded from the Mathale Aluvihara to Kandy, where they met the Mahanayakatheros of the Malvathu and Askiri chapters and received their blessings. This morning, Venerable Panya Karathero of Vietnam, along with the Mahasangha, paid reverence to the sacred tooth relic at the Sri Dalada Maligava. Following this, the Mahasangha chanted Sat Pirit and invoked blessings. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya was also present at the occasion.
Our first day of walking giving us a blister and burn in our feet, and then after that we get soaking wet. So great weather and great welcoming for the Walk for Peace team, but we love it. This is our journey. We have to endure through all this challenge, regardless of the weather. Even in the United States, when we were walking freezing weather as well, snow. And so here we encounter the heat and the rain. So this is something that we can call normal for the Walk for Peace team. We are not well trained for all these, but we are very flexible to adapt to the new weathers. Gratefully, we still in the time of the Buddha, Gautama Buddha teachings. His teachings to show us the way, the path, to liberate all kind of these sufferings, to attain Nibbana. But we are not following his teachings. Why do I say that? It's because for most of the beings, most of the people in this earth, we claim that we are Buddhists. but we are not. Why do I say that? Buddhist followers, the Buddha taught it's not about offerings. It's not about worshipping. It's not about we kneel down in front of the Buddha and the relics and pay respect and asking for wealth, happiness and things. Those are not the Buddha teachings. Those are just spiritual things that we do in life, but that is not it. What we have been doing generation after generations, worshipping, offerings, these are spiritual things, but these are not the teachings of the Buddha. His teaching is to show us to liberate all kind of suffering, which is practicing. We have to practice mindfulness to end sufferings. And in order for us to end those sufferings, we have to practice diligently every single day.
Thereafter, the Walk for Peace departed from Kandy. As the Mahasangha proceeded, spreading the message of peace in all directions, thousands of devotees gathered in Kandy to pay their respects.
Datanglah dunia, lihatlah kedamaian ini, ketenangan hati, damai yang abadi, demi kebahagiaan semua makhluk. Mari melangkah dalam kasih sayang. Datanglah dunia.
At the Theological College of Lanka in Pilimathalava, the midday alms for the Mahasangha participating in the walk were prepared under the patronage of the Sri Dalada Malikaba.
Come, O world, for the joy of all, the spirit of peace is standing.
2 forests were declared as reserves today in line with the Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace. The ceremony took place at the Beligamana Raja Mahavihara. Accordingly, the Nagahamulaya forest in the Mathale district and the Padiyagampula forest in Kegol were declared as forest reserves. The official deed was presented to Venerable Panyakaratheru and the Mahasangha, who are currently participating in the Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace. The ceremony was presided over by Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabadi. Tomorrow, the Walk for Peace in the Island of Peace will continue its journey toward the Tholangamua Central College.
Move forward, Sri Lanka.
A wide-ranging investigation is currently underway involving several institutions in connection with an incident in which a group of cyber criminals is alleged to have stolen approximately $2.5 million on multiple occasions through the computer systems of the External Resources Department of the Ministry of Finance. Amid the ongoing investigations, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa shared his views on the incident.
When financial transactions take place, there are many procedures, security mechanisms and protocols that are followed. These include registered and whitelisted email address procedures, email indemnity processes, callback verification systems, dual authorization, 4 eyes principles, SWIFT systems, formal settlement channels and beneficiary account change freeze periods, among many others. Especially when banking transactions are carried out, there are established cybersecurity and transactional security protocols designed to safeguard these processes. We want to ask why such secure procedures, cyber protection and cybersecurity measures were not followed or implemented by the Ministry of Finance and the responsible institutions.
Here are the comments from Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna member Shanta Mandara. Hackers attempt to enter private banks and financial institutions. That is a technical process. They try to steal the money and dollars held there. This is something carried out by an organized group. Hackers cannot gain entry unless there is a weakness in the system. Otherwise, they would be entering every financial institution everywhere. But all those entry points are secured and locked. So who opened the doors of the country's most important financial institution? The Treasury. Thieves do attempt to enter a house, but because of that, we make sure the doors are reinforced and properly locked for security. That is simply how this should be understood. The political movement, Devana Parapur, also commented on the incident. One clear point we see is that the term hackers is being used repeatedly. More than a hacking of the financial system, what we see here is not a direct system hack to withdraw funds. What we see here is something commonly referred to online as phishing. This involves creating fake messages or fake websites to gather information through deception. Essentially, this money has been stolen through fraudulent means. There are two possible scenarios. One is that hackers accessed the relevant email account used for these central bank related transactions, obtained sensitive data, and then used that information in a phishing scheme to deceive government officials and steal the money. The second possibility is that an internal group leaked this information, after which the money was stolen through a phishing system. Above all, before moving towards digitalization, this country must strengthen digital literacy across the banking sector, among public officials, ministers, and even down to the youngest citizens. The Prime Minister clarified the facts regarding this incident today in Kandy.
I think
the ministry has issued a very clear statement. An investigation is being conducted into the matter. Information is being gathered on what exactly happened, and it has been stated that action will be taken against the necessary individuals. It has also been mentioned that international support is being received for this. I saw that the Australian High Commission also stated yesterday that they are providing full cooperation for this investigation. So, from the government's side, we are doing what must be done. The opposition has now become somewhat accustomed to trying to make statements as if suspicions are facts. We can understand that from their perspective. Lacking the facts, they simply manufacture stories and present them as true to get attention, don't they? Therefore, the people of this country must decide whether that is the proper role of an opposition.
The
Battala Magistrates Court ordered to release on bail former Minister Johnston Fernando and another accused who had been held in remand custody. The order was issued when the relevant case was taken up before Battala Magistrate Kanchana N. Silva.
The case has been filed in connection with an investigation conducted by the Financial Crimes Investigations Division into the alleged misuse of a lorry belonging to Lanka Satosa. Legal action has been instituted against 7 suspects, including Johnston Fernando, his elder son Johan Fernando, his younger son Jerome Fernando, and a former transport manager of Satosa. The magistrate ordered that former Minister Johnston Fernando be released on a cash bail of 25,000 rupees along with 4 personal sureties of 500,000 rupees each. The other suspect granted bail today is the 7th accused in the case, a driver employed by Satosa. Bail had previously been granted to the 2 sons of Johnston Fernando in connection with the same case.
Normal train operations have resumed on one line of the Southern Coastal Railway line, which was disrupted earlier due to train derailment. The Sagarika train derailed near the Wadu railway station this morning.
The Sagarika train travelling from Beliatta to Maradana derailed near the Vattuva railway station at approximately 7:10 a.m. today. Two passengers sustained minor injuries, while the railway track suffered extensive damage. The Department of Railways stated that train operations on the coastal line are currently restricted, running only from Colombo to Panadura and from Mathura to Kaluthara.
We have appointed a committee to conduct an investigation into this derailment. We will only be able to provide a specific estimate of the total damages and losses in the coming days.
To assist inconvenienced passengers, the Sri Lanka Transport Board and the National Transport Commission have launched a special bus service connecting Panadura and Kaluthara South railway stations. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca says that some former corrupt politicians are misinterpreting certain technical errors in front of the public with the dream of regaining power.
The opposition is trying to fish in troubled waters. With regard to the issue pertaining to the $2.5 million, I don't think it is necessary that the government needs to bear responsibility, as I do not think any member from the government is involved in this or that it had the blessings of the government. However, due to an existing weakness, something that should not have happened did happen. I think if a fair investigation into the matter is carried out now, that is the best thing that the government can do. Those who were there before carried out frauds to the tune of billions of dollars. Now they are accusing Minister Lal Kantha for having assets worth around 40 million. In the current economic environment, 40 million is not an amount that you could do a lot with. 40 million is an amount that a person of around 60 years of age could have earned and saved within his lifetime. Even though the government has not taken action, these people are those who destroyed the nation for the past 75 years. They built their assets, looked after their children, and accumulated much wealth and drained the resources of the country. I do not think that the people of the country will be stupid enough to bring these people back into power. What we request the people is, do not ever make the mistake of bringing these people back into power, because they are not the type who learn from or correct their mistakes. They are not ones that you can trust. If you look at their past, they are very corrupt. If we place our trust in such individuals, we as a nation, we will never be able to develop and grow. Different people can have different personal goals. However, during the last election, we did not see the people of this country supporting or approving those personal goals. They are individuals who were rejected by the people.
A high-level Sri Lankan delegation led by Secretary of Defence retired Air Vice Marshal Sampatha Tuyakonta held a series of meetings with senior United Nations officials in New York City in connection with the ongoing MOU negotiations for the proposed deployment of a gang suppression force to Haiti. The delegation included Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Johnston, the military advisor of Sri Lanka to the UN, and other senior officials.
Talks centered on the prospective deployment of Sri Lankan troops to Haiti under the proposed gang suppression force, with particular focus on operational readiness, compliance with United Nations standards, and adherence to human rights requirements. A key area of deliberation was the importance of ensuring a robust and transparent human rights screening process for all personnel. The Sri Lankan delegation informed UN officials that the government of Sri Lanka is currently developing a comprehensive national human rights vetting mechanism applicable to all troops deploying for UN field missions, including the proposed deployment to Haiti. The initiative was described as part of Sri Lanka's continued commitment to upholding international standards and ensuring accountability in peace support operations. It was also noted that Sri Lanka is working in close coordination with the UN Resident Coordinator in Sri Lanka to develop and operationalize the vetting framework with the aim of ensuring full alignment with the United Nations guidelines and best practices.
The Art and Life of Jayantha Premachandra, a landmark 3-day retrospective, got underway in Colombo.
The 3-day tribute to Jayantha Premachandra, one of Sri Lanka's most influential transnational artists, opened yesterday in Colombo. Curated by Professor Jagat Ravindra and organized by the Jayanta Premachandra Foundation, the event offers a rare look at the artist's work during Sri Lanka's transition to independence. The opening night featured a compelling session titled Visual Thinking, Exaggeration and Artistic Practice, led by Jagat Ravindra, the former Dean of the Faculty of Visual Arts at the University of the Visual and Performing Arts, Colombo, and art enthusiast Shanaka Amarasinghe. The speakers deconstructed Premachandra's use of exaggeration as a vital tool for socio-political introspection, illustrating how his time in Europe refined his portrayal of Sri Lankan identity. The retrospective continues through April 25th, with sessions shifting focus towards the new generation of artists and the technical craft of framing. The event remains a vital space for dialogue on cultural continuity and the power of art to empower a society in transformation.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.